Hello, everyone. What would you do if a photo proved the impossible? Proved that there was actually another universe intertwining with us on an everyday level. That theory was proven in 1964, we believe, by a father who took an innocent picture of his daughter in Cumbria on a nice sunny day. And when he saw the figure behind his daughter, he was shocked to see a spaceman, an astronaut in white suit, like in the white astronaut. Kodak, he even showed the image to Kodak. Hello, Cam. He even showed the image to Kodak themselves and said, "Can you prove that this is legit and I've not tampered with it or anything?" They came back and said it's not been tampered or anything. And this was 1964. They were just starting to come into advances of altering still photos of putting people in and digitally removing them, but this was untampered with. So tonight we're not just exploring the Solway Firth Spaceman. We're exploring time jumps. We're talking about dimensional disruptions. This is the Alternate Reality Archives episode 21. And make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, obviously. Otherwise, you'll miss everything. And you don't want to do that. So basically, I'm going to take you back to a nice, spring day on May the 23rd, 1964. And a fireman by the name of Jim Templeton decided, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll take my daughter and my wife out for a lovely sunny day to Berg Marsh in Cumbria. And he took 3 photos, but only one of them's become famous. Voila, this one. And if you can see what's in the back of his daughter, this is the Solway Firth Spaceman, as it's known as. No one present, basically, his wife, or then the mother of the daughter, but didn't spot anyone there. Basically, no tampering obviously took place. Kodak confirmed that themselves, and basically, people have come out and said in recent years could have been the mother. Yeah, and that accidentally caught in a shot. But she was wearing a dress, according to Jim's accounts, and she wasn't wearing a white suit like that. And basically, this is where it gets even stranger. There was a nearby missile launch going to be taking place by the military, but it was abruptly stopped shortly after this photo was taken because 2 men who was due to take part in this test spotted similar suited like astronauts or spacemen or whatever on the marshes after this photo was taken or before this photo was taken. They don't know off the top of their heads. They said one of them says it was before, the other says it was after. But what we do know is no one knows what this image represents or what happened. So was it just a camera glitch for on a sunny day? Or did we get a glimpse into another universe where in that brief moment his daughter is in today's in Earth today, and that was the Earth on a second in a parallel universe. And the spaceman was walking this plane. Let me know what you think, everyone, because it is interesting how the daughter, got captured with this spaceman. Let me know what you think. Like I said, everyone, I'd love to know what your theories are on this. But yeah, that's the Solway Firth Spaceman, one of the most famous photos taken of the 20th century, which is crazy. And that's, like I said, that was on a sunny day, just like we've been having this last week. And this was even before, anything was like digitalized. Basically, yeah, they would, like I said, they were signing like to add people to files that were dead and stuff like that, but they weren't like they are today, where you can seamlessly add it, and and like Kodak said, it wasn't tampered with. So what the hell was going on with that photo, everyone? Love to know your thoughts. So we go from the Solway Firth Spaceman now to time jumps and dimensional disruptions that are on another scale. And I'm going to give you some like examples here of what's happened, and you can tell me what you think, if you believe that this happened, or do you think they did actually go into another universe like we saw with the Spaceman? Basically, one of this it is creepy, Cam. That photo is like mind blowing. Like I believe that I caught something in another universe there. Like I believe that in the parallel universe that the military test that was taking place is actually a space, like space base. Like the Kennedy Center. So that's my opinion, and the spacemen that people saw were you know Anyways, going on to these like time jumps or dimensional disruptions, whatever you want to call them. In 2008, in Merca, Spain, a woman was going about her life, and this is an anonymous woman. She stopped into a local supermarket where she had been loads of times and that. And but she went in this time, and she said that something had fell off and something was different. The layout was changed, goes strange to her. And she said that products were put in the one place. The packaging was not familiar to her at all. The logo on the bags was different, more curved, more yellow than red. And the employees was wearing new uniforms that she didn't even recognise. So she thought the store had been renovated, and that when she wasn't there, and this is a new procedure that they had to have new uniforms. But she stepped outside for a moment, like to just recompose herself, like because it's overwhelming her. And she walked back in, and you guessed. And can anyone guess what happened? What happened to the shop? Basically, the shop went back to normal. Old colours on the logo, old uniforms on the employees, old like the layout of the stores and that. But no one in the store had noticed any changes. Only this anonymous woman. So she basically, Cameron, it did go back to how it was. Basically, she was terrified, so she checked her receipt to show if she had gone into a different store and it was a different name. But nope, it was the same store. But the time stamp that was on it didn't match the real well time. And so did she step into a parallel universe for a second? That this supermarket was it different? So in their universe, like she said, the logo was more yellow than red, and in our universe, it's more red than yellow. An employee, it's kind of crazy that to think about. Now, why was the universe glitching on that day for her? Now we go back to a case that I talked about ages ago, but I'll re-familiarize yourself with it. I'll re-familiarize it for you, everyone. This is the man from Torred. Basically, in 1954, in Tokyo's Aneda airport, this man come flying in, and he said he said that he come from this thing called Torred. Right, this is what I'm going to say. It's going to get crazy for you now, because after this I'm going to give you the real thing that happened. But this is what was going on at the time. So he said he come from Torred, and he couldn't believe that this country didn't exist because he had stamps on all his passport, which from the correct nations and that. But he claimed that this Torred place is where Andorra is, between France and between Spain. So where Andorra is, think where Andorra is in the world, that's where Torred was. But so he kept on insisting that he was from there. People thought, oh, he's a bit doolally. Why is he saying this place that no one knows exists? So authorities detained him in this hotel room, basically guarded him while they done their investigations, right? But by the morning, he had disappeared, along with his passport, luggage, documentation, and everything. The windows were locked on the inside, and that no trace ever basically existed of him, and the door hadn't been opened. So what happened? Well, apparently, down a few years ago, it come out that this was a hoax. I don't know how true it is, or I don't know whether you want to believe that he actually did come from Torred and everything, but this was put down as a hoax a few years ago, so that's why I say with the truth there. So let me know what you think on that one. Do you believe it was an hoax, or do you think it actually was from Torred and a different universe? Now, we're going to go to Birmingham, the land of the second city here in the UK. And basically, this is where these cases what I'm going to talk about now. Streets have basically vanished right in front of people. So basically, this man in Birmingham phoned up a local radio station in Birmingham and said yeah, took a shortcut for years that he knew and that, and now a lane that basically cut between two buildings alongside, like near alongside, and then the petrol station was behind. So he thought, all right, I'll do this again, because I know the shortcut, I can do it. But when he went there, the shortcut had gone. Like the wall was solid brick, no evidence that the alley had even existed, and he retraced his steps, but nothing. Then a few days later, the alley reappeared, and that's when he phoned up the radio station and said, "What happened? Did someone tamper with it?" They said that nothing had gone. Nothing had happened there. That it was always there. And so what happened that day for that alleyway to go and be bricked up, and then everyone knew it wasn't bricked up, but yeah, it was bricked up for him. Did he have him like time slip? Let me know what you think. I know, like I said, make sure you're hitting the like button, subscribing, sharing, commenting, all that lovely jubbly stuff. And now we go to a woman who was returning from work in Liverpool, right? And she claims on her local radio station, these were all phoned up to local radio stations at the time, that her street had changed, right? That her own street had changed where she was living. Her house was missing, and it was replaced by this Victorian red brick terrace house that hadn't existed the day before. So she fled in panic, cried, and was crying, and she circled the block on the and she said on the radio station, I phoned my mum straight away and said that there's something wrong with my house, that it's not here. So she went back round to the street, the house was there again. What the hell's going on with all this? Are they hallucinating? Or are we seeing like reality like slips, like the veil is so thin that we're seeing actual fragments of another universe coming in and bleeding through? I don't know what you all think, everyone, on them. So yeah, let me know what you think on that. But that is creepy. Could you imagine going down your street or a place of work and you're going, oh, I know this, I've been here like 500 times, and then this one time it has changed. I wouldn't know what to do. I'd be like, I wouldn't panic, but I would be like, I'd question myself. I'd be like, did I just did I miss something? Have I been in a fucking am I in a Hollywood movie or something? Something gone on. But yeah, people reacted in different ways, you know. Now, a Yorkshire boy, right, who was 4 years old at the time. This is the one that I think is everyone has heard of, where the children remember shit that people don't seem to tell them, or they've lived a past life. But this 4-year-old boy has basically made his parents shit themselves, basically, because he lived in Yorkshire and he stunned his parents this day right, and and I saw the Reddit post about this. Basically, a war bunker is near where he lives, and they never told him about this war bunker whatsoever. But he accurately described the war bunker and he even described the layout inside, basically, but where out there was a spiral staircase, out there was rusted floor drains, out there was bunk beds in the out there was a communications array and room, exactly where it was. So the parents thought, right, let's go and check it out and see if he's what's going on here. They went to check it out, and every detail matched. It matched more than a fucking match on Tinder. Like, what the fuck is going on with these kids and remembering shit, man? You know what I mean? If I wanted to remember that much shit, I'd probably be doing that Nintendo DS game, the brain puzzle one. And that was what I was doing at 4 years old. Stuff like that. Trying to get my memory working. But this kid can remember a fucking detail of a bunker. Fucking hell. Now, so basically, let me know what you think about these children and the memories. Why are we getting these things that children can remember past lives, remember in conversations that they've never been took part of, but in a previous life they did. They remember towns that they've never been to, but they remember details of everything. Let me know what you think, everyone, because it is a crazy theory, you know. So basically, now we're going to go from some children and their past lives to a time jump that basically lasted 2 hours. So she was she had her phone connected to her car, and this was in the music on Spotify or whatever you do on a car. And this was in Kentucky, in rural Kentucky. So she was driving home from visiting a friend, and she had the music blaring. This trip normally takes her half an hour, and that. And now, think about this: when she arrived, back home, her watch showed a 2-hour time jump. So basically, she arrived 2 hours later than she should have, which is even more crazy. Why 2 hours later? Her phone restarted itself multiple times, and this is where it gets crazy. She said the song that was playing on the radio when she left her friends was still at the same timestamp when she got to her house 2 hours later. And she even put the name of the song. She put it was yeah, because I need to double check that. Because yeah. She said it was Superhero by Future. Like, what the fuck? So she felt nauseated, and she felt that, and then so she thought, fine, I'm going to go indoors, I've laid down, you know, because something's going on here. So basically, she got indoors, and this was when it all got weirder. A plant pot had moved for some reason. A pillow was missing. Yes, a pillow. And her car's GPS history. She thought, right, I need to go. This is getting all weird now. So she went back out to her car and checked the journey time just to see if it was 2 hours that she had drove for. But no, the car literally said that she had drove for half an hour. But the real time was 2 hours for a jump. So she began so she said that she began researching missing time and time jumps basically. And she's found dozens of similar cases, and she's thinking now that's what she experienced. So is she like, did she really experience a time jump? Or is she just like hoping that it's something and she's not, and she's not a bit, Let me know what you think, everyone. Because I want to know what you think, because you're my community, so you need to help me here. So now we go from Kentucky to Shrewsbury here in the UK, and in 1997, a Shrewsbury antique dealer basically made the newspapers in 1997 because he purchased an ornate French mirror from an estate sale, and he brought it home to like do it up and obviously have it in the house. And he noticed that something strange was particularly off about the mirror. Can anyone guess what was wrong with the mirror? I'll give you 3 guesses. What was wrong with the mirror? Yeah, I'll give you 3 guesses, everyone. What was wrong with the mirror that made him kind of notice it more? Hello, everyone who's just tuning in and watching on catch up. I'm Paranormal Whiffles, by the way, if you haven't seen me before. So yeah, I'll let you have 3 guesses, and if you're watching on catch up or that, what was wrong with this mirror that made him question whether what he saw was real or not? And make sure you're hitting that like button and subscribing and sharing my video out to your friends and that who are interested in this stuff. Let's get this community growing, everyone. Oh, yeah. Can anyone guess what was wrong with this mirror then? I'll give you 30 more seconds. Right. The answer is that his reflection was off. Basically, when he looked in certain lights, his face seemed reversed, but only partially. Like his eyes, he claimed, were facing the wrong way. Basically, he took photos, obviously on digital camera back then. Some appeared normal to him, which we thought was fine, but another showed like facial asymmetrics that didn't match his real features, which is crazy. Like, so he invited friends, family, colleagues, anyone that would wanted to take a look in this mirror and that. But some saw nothing and that. But others claim that they looked older in the mirror, wrong, or they felt intense pressure in their head. Basically, that so he decided, fuck, what do I do? So he decided, he had to see. He decided that he had to sell the mirror, but that's only after he had blackouts himself and dreamed of alternate lives that basically were versions of himself that wasn't his own life. And he said that one of them we pictured, he dreamt about was of his wife dying, and another one was that he had a baby and they died at birth, stuff like that. And so, so could this mirror have been like a pool, sort of basically showing people what their alternate selves are like? I don't know, but let me know what you think, everyone, because that is crazy. And that's in 1997. So there was no thing that he could have, like, I don't think this ever, I don't think the Photoshop was even around in 1997. So you can't tell me he edited the fucking film, like, or photo, like that online. I think Photoshop didn't come around for another couple of years. So, anyways, now we go from Shrewsbury down to Bristol, and a man phoned up his local radio station to say that something strange had happened to him the month before. Basically, he said that he suffered a cardiac arrest in his sleep, but he woke up completely fine. Didn't know that he knew he had a cardiac arrest, but he woke up like fine as fine as a dandy. But he noticed that discrepancies were happening in his life. He thought basically like there was a painting on his wall that was a different color. Basically a dog, which the dog that he owned didn't respond to his usual nickname. It responded to a new nickname completely. And basically, what weirdest one he said that he had to come to terms with was that the neighbour that had died previously due to stabbing was alive and bloody well. So basically, he later told a support group that he believed that he had died, which he thought he did, and that his consciousness had moved to the nearest surviving version of reality, and basically a timeline, like which he was still alive in, and he's gone in there now and living that life. So, does this mean that quantum immortality is around? And if you don't know what quantum immortality is, everyone, basically it's the theory that if when we die, that we basically just continue in another body of ourselves without even realizing it. So we could die and then basically go into another like version of ourselves and just carry on living it. Let me know what you think on that. But it's crazy. He said that because he said that he was still coming to terms with it a month later, and he said that one of the biggest changes as well was that he was now a Bristol City fan and not a Bristol Rovers fan. Well, I guess you could have more chance of getting to the Premiership with Bristol City than you could with Bristol Rovers, mate. But yeah. Moving on. So basically, now we're going to talk about a theory, not theory, but a thing that everyone should know about. So who knows about the Mandela effect and that? Like when we remember what names only of the companies, logos altered, which we didn't know, and that changes in famous quotes like I'll give you one that always throws me off guard, like Forrest Gump. Life is like a box. My mama always used to tell me that life is like a box of chocolates. You'll never know which one you're gonna get. That is now life was like a box of chocolates. Logos you could say the fruit of the loom, stuff like that. So if you don't know what the Mandela effect is, go and look it up on my previous video. I've talked about the Mandela effect with some, and it's crazy. So some researchers have now said that have come out and said that these are dimensional residues. So basically, basically when you're playing a game, like I don't know, I'll use give me a popular game, brain, like Red Dead Redemption 2. You're playing a game, you're playing a story, and you know when you go back and you and you get an auto save feature on, and then it overwrites your past points, doesn't it? And you're like, oh shit, I can't go back to this point. That's what they're believing, that this is happening with dimensional residue. They're believing that it's overwriting past timelines, and now it's catching up to us in the modern day. But some of the old fragments of that time is still bleeding through, and that's why we're remembering stuff. So what's going on? So is someone going from our future that we ain't even lived yet, and going back to the past and altering stuff? Let me know what you think, everyone, because that is crazy. Now the next three are going to be even more weird for you because they're all in the UK as well. So basically, the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, if you don't know what that is, that's one of the most famous buildings in London, and I'll show you why. There we go. The Royal Observatory in London, in Greenwich. This is it. So basically, you're going to think, what's going on here? For it, because it obviously it's a planetarium as well. Basically, workmen was working on it, like engineers we were doing maintenance here, and they reported something bizarre. Basically, the main all clock here in the observatory, and I'm going to try and get you a picture of that now. I mean, this is it. So basically, right, everyone, sorry about that. This is the Greenwich clock that was referred to. It's changed now, but this is a precision instrument. It's like changed because it's outside now. But yeah, this clock done something weird in 1983. Basically, for 12 minutes, this clock ran in reverse. For 12 whole minutes, it ran in reverse. Welcome back, Cam. Don't worry, you can watch what you missed. But yeah, for 12 whole minutes, this clock ran in reverse. So they said, so everyone was trying to get on the same page. They were like, No one's touched this clock, and the backup systems didn't even register a shift in the clock. Security cameras at the time, because they were recording onto VHS, they were malfunctioning at the same time, so they couldn't even tell what had gone on. So basically, the team decided, oh yeah, we'll just dismiss this as a fault. You know, it can happen, all that thing, right? Right, so right, but then one technician decided, oh, look at my notebook, and he found that several pages of his handwriting were written from right to left in mirror script. So he had no memory of writing it that way at all. But then he tried to raise the points up with the higher ups at the observatory, but the incident was quietly filed and then it was never explained. So did something happen? And what was those notes? Because why would he write in mirror script? Because if you remember, the only language that writes from right to left, if you think about it, is Arabic in the known world. There's no way that he would have been doing that. So he would have been doing stuff from right to left, which is mirror script in us. So when you turn it to a mirror, he'd already correct, but he doesn't remember doing it. So what happened and why weren't it released? You don't like Cam, you like I said, you can watch what you've not missed anyway. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on that, everyone, on that Greenwich mystery. Now we're going to go from Greenwich back to the east. No, not east, the west. Right? I have to silly idiot, right? The west, right? Cheltenham, right? This woman who lives in Cheltenham, she describes, right? She described in a journal because that was released as part of a radio program for their local TV, like local radio, like show. Which is funny, where all these are phoning up from radio stations. Don't they know a TV show would pay them good money? I'm joking. But yeah, she phoned up the local radio station and said that this might be of interest to you. So she went to a quiet neighborhood library on a Tuesday afternoon. You think that would be fine? And it was rainy. So inside, right, she said that there was no one there, not even staff members. So she thought, okay, that's weird. Where is everyone? So she went and checked out the books, thinking, all right, so obviously if the books are fine, then there must just the staff might be somewhere else. No, the books had blank spines. There was a dull that filled the air like like that. So she tried to check out a title of a book. She didn't explain what the book was, but she couldn't even find the checkout desk to check out this book. So she got spooked, and she said to myself, "Shit, I need to go." So she went and got her friend, and she said, "Right, we need to go back to this library." Right. So they went back there that week, but this library had disappeared. Like it was gone. When they checked it, when she checked around, she said that she noted this particularly because of how it like flabbergasted her. The building was boarded up and it was marked for demolition since 1994. So no official records were seen or shown to her that the library had ever been open. Her friend thought, oh, you're playing a practical joke on me, right? But this is where it gets even creepier. The friend picked up a book out of this friend that she didn't believe handbag. The book had a blank spine. So what the fuck happened to that library? And why was the spines blank? And what happened to that library? Isn't that crazy? Anyways, now for the last one, August the 14th, 2011, in the coastal village of Exmouth in Devon, people witnessed something that they could only describe as a second moon. And I don't mean Spencer or Elfie moon. Yeah, true, Cam. Could be that. Yeah. So second moons are not Cat or Elfie or Spencer or Nana. No, a second physical moon in the sky that appeared left of the normal moon, and it was smaller, duller, but it was clearly visible. And it hovered next to our moon for 20 whole minutes before it faded. But then, so they thought, what the fuck's going on here with them? These two moons. So as you do, and I presume you would do, 2011. Let's take our phones. And let's do some with photos. Yeah. Let's take some pictures. Yeah, they did take pictures, right? But the camera never saved the flaming pictures. The phones failed to save the pictures. So the radio station and TV local news station caught a wind of this, and this kid on the TV news channel that night said that he described it right, like the night after when it appeared, and that he said it was like a fake moon was watching us, and that. So the astronomers and that look at stuff like this, right? I've gone. It weren't a mock moon or atmospheric illusion, but yet no conditions that night supported the phenomenon of this, right? Right. Witnesses of the night have always remained adamant that it was not reflection or lens flare, and they said the smaller moon was felt sentient, like it knew what it was doing there. So so what version of Earth was we looking at that night? These people have been wondering ever since. What version of Earth was they looking at? Is it an Earth where there's two moons? Let me know what you think. Or was it just like a glitch? Anyways, like I was going to say here, reality is stranger than we think, everyone. Yeah, I know. But it's crazy though, because in that moment, no, you would think that they could do something else, but no, it's always their phones there. That's why I always believe that you have to have a physical camera as well. Because if the phone glitches and that, you got a physical one, and if that glitches, then at least you can say, right, something definitely weird's going on. But if you're just doing it on your phone, you know, phone's going to do glitches at some point. You know. So, anyways, like I said, the reality changes than we think. Sometimes it's more fragile. Sometimes time doesn't always tick forward, as I've mentioned with the Greenwich clock where it ticks backwards. Streets don't always stay the same. They change over time. Or maybe they just disappear one day and then the next day they reappear again. The moon doesn't always come alone. He wants to bring a date. But anyways, a single photograph is enough for us to start unraveling everything we trust and basically question what the hell is going on. But yeah, this has been the Alternate Reality Archives, episode 21, Time Jumps to Solway Spaceman and Dimensional Disruptions. And if this basically has intrigued you enough, then please hit that like button. Subscribe before you forget what you were looking for. Share it before any details start changing elsewhere. Hit that bell and that, like I say here, because you gotta try and be here with me, and then I can help you get through all these journeys together. But then Hopefully, I see you in the next episode or another version of you in the next episode. Take care, everyone. Big love to you all and have a good night. Bye bye, everyone.